Oh, what is up everyone? This is OJ over here from PlayerEssence and welcome to another Nintendo NX and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild discussion. So, recently, Digital Foundry actually did a frame rate analysis for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Now, this was on the E3 build. It is not complete. There is still stuff to be done on the game, so we can't take everything that they've said as 100%. That's how the final product will be. But I did want to talk about it because it does show that there might be some differences between the Wii U version and the Nintendo NX version, and that news did kind of come out from various websites and from Edgy and Numa at E3. So the frame rate analysis on the Wii U version of the game pretty much shows that it's going to be 30 frames per second, but once you start actually doing stuff like lighting fire or combat, things kind of take a dip. I saw as low as 22 frames per second at some points, but it does do a good job of trying to stay at least in the 25 to 30 range, and the game is running at 720p. Digital Foundry also pointed out that there was no anthroposcopic filtering, no AA, anti-aliasing, or anything like that in the game, and it does have some soft and rigid textures when you walk up and all of that. And personally, from my own opinion, yes, I did see a lot of these things that they were talking about. I did notice the frame rate while I was playing. I did notice the softness of some of the visuals. It still looks amazing. It still looks great. But what has me really excited is the Nintendo NX version. And I personally feel that the NX version is going to fix a lot of these, in addition to getting a nice resolution bump to 1080p and probably a solid 30 frames per second without the teetering frame rate, because I think that's my biggest concern for The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild on the Wii U. It is this wide open sprawling world. It's going to be tough for them to maintain that frame rate and the visual quality that they have with all the different things that they have in the game. The physics engine, the fire that you can light, dynamic lighting. There's so many different things and effects that Nintendo usually doesn't do in a lot of games that's in this game. The wide breathing open world, everything is so alive in this game, and the fact that it's having these dipping frame rates is somewhat understandable for the type of game this is. But I think, like I said, that's where the Nintendo NX version comes in, to where it can fix a lot of this stuff. Now, if you look at The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD, and if you look at The Legend of Zelda The Wind Waker HD on Wii U, both of those games did not maintain a solid 30 frames per second. I do think that Twilight Princess did a better job overall than Wind Waker HD based on the tests and based on my own playthrough, and those games aren't completely open world. So the fact that they're even getting it to this point is really impressive considering the previous games before it. Now, there's still work to be done. I do think that they're going to work on stabilizing that frame rate and making sure things run a little bit smoother once the final build comes out. But the Nintendo NX version, in my opinion, definitely has to be at least a solid, no questions asked, like no dips, 30 frames per second to get the best experience, in addition to that 1080p resolution and maybe anti-aliasing, maybe some AA in there. Let's hope so for that. And I have heard some people say, well, is this going to be 60 frames per second for the Nintendo NX version of the game? And I don't think Nintendo is going to do 60 frames per second for this game, and I'll give you a couple of reasons why I don't think so. I don't think so just because Nintendo has never done, for Zelda games at least, on consoles, they've never really done 60 frames per second. They've always been a 30 frames per second experience. I don't know whether if it's intentional or if that's something they just want to keep for the Zelda experience, but they've always done 30, even though they easily could have taken, I think, Wind Waker HD, and they could have taken Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess and make the resolution 720p and have that run in 60 frames per second, but they opted not to. They opted to go with 1080p native, which Nintendo doesn't do a lot for their Wii U games, so they opted to make those native 1080p. So even with the bump in hardware and the fact that this game is a bridge title, it is not going to be like a 100% Nintendo NX focused title. Maybe if it was, then you might see a 1080p 60 frames per second, but the fact that it's not, that it's Wii U and Nintendo NX, makes me believe that they're going to just go for a similar experience across both. So that would be a resolution bump, stabilization of the frame rate, and just keeping it pretty much 1080p 30 frames per second, and maybe the next true Zelda game that comes out for the Nintendo NX can be 1080p 60 frames per second. But anyway, that's my opinion on the game. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Also, make sure you check out the full video from Digital Foundry. It's really good. They heap a lot of praise on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild while giving us the full details of the demo build of the game. So definitely check out that video. That'll be linked in the description below. Alright guys, that basically wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and hit that like button if you did like it. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And also subscribe to PlayerEssence for more news, reviews, trailers, tips, and tricks, and everything on The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you for the next video. Peace.